man, it's a really, really great bike. It's much better than the previous 1100 version. They've basically taken it to a whole new level. Just like most of the changes you would expect from a Ducati S model. Olin suspension, front and rear, carbon fiber bits, got machined wheels rather than the cast wheels, more horsepower, S model, 145 horsepower, and you get 5 more foot-pounds of torque. And that's the one that we got to ride out on the roads of Tenerife. The course that we rode, mixture of in-town riding, uphills, downhills, really bad pavement, really good pavement, tight turns, wide open sections. Had just about it. It performed impeccably. Just a little background on the new 1200. It's got the Testostrada motor in it. Gone is the air-cooled 2-valve motor. Now you've got the modern Superbike motor. It's got a little more compression, but instead of having 56mm throttle bodies, it's got 53mm throttle bodies for a lot more low-end grunt rather than top-end power. You can lug it all the way down to it seemed like 2,000 RPM, twist the throttle, and it would just pull itself out of that hole. And it didn't have that V-twin torque. It just yanks out of the corners. And then once you hit like 5,000, 5,500 RPM up until right around before 8,000 RPM, man, it's got beans. The front tire gets light, and it really pours on the torque and the power. But once you get past the red line at like 10,500 RPM, so you just short shift it, you torque it around, but at the same time, you've got that extra over rev that you used to not have in the old bike. The S model that we rode, it's got Brembo monoblocks, of course, with ABS. The pavement wasn't the greatest in some of the places we rode, and we got into the ABS quite often. Felt like in control the whole time, and there was never any strange, weird feedback. I wish it was as taut as the front was. Overall, it's a larger bike. It's longer than the outgoing Monster 1100. They wanted to make it more comfortable. That was one of the big things, was making it more comfortable, not only for the rider, but for the passenger. So they added a new seat to it. It's nice and thick, it's padded, and for the first time, it's actually adjustable up and down. To give you a little bit more of an upright seating position than the old Monster, but it still doesn't feel like you're sitting upright. It still feels monstrous, it still feels a little kicked forward, and it's really comfortable. We rode all day, and never even a hint of being uncomfortable. The dash is new for this model. It's basically the TFT display that you get on the Panigale. Nice, full color. You got 3 screens when you change riding modes, and it's actually kind of neat. Overall, it's the best Monster yet, there's no doubt about it. Yes, it doesn't have an air-cooled motor anymore. Yes, it's more complicated, and that might put off some of the real hardcore Monster fans because the Monster's always been simple and the everyman's Ducati. But even so,